Hello, welcome to episode 2.
Here's our blanket, excellent.
An asymmetrical twist.
Dropping and sinking up. Notice how
So just notice.
Joining us for the second episode of next week.
Namaste. Hello, welcome to episode 5 of Namaste Yoga. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa West, and we're joined by my friends today, Jill Snape, who is a yoga teacher and a Reiki master, and my friend Mai, who is also a yoga teacher. You can find her at 123kidsyoga.com. She specializes in bringing children's yoga into the schools, so definitely check that out. And you'll probably be seeing her on an upcoming episode, so watch out for that, for a kids yoga program for 7 to 9-year-olds. Okay, so today we're going to start seated. So if you want to prop yourself at all so that it's more comfortable for you to sit, that would be totally fine. One thing that I find about sitting is to, I used to tuck my feet underneath me like this. And what I would find is that my feet would fall asleep. So what I found recently is that if I just place one leg in front of the other, for one, my knees fall open more easily, and also my feet don't fall asleep anymore. The other thing you may want for today's practice, you probably will, are a couple of blocks if you have them. If you don't have them, you could use soup cans from your kitchen or a pile of books, but lots of things around the house that create that kind of shape that you could use. Okay, so we're going to start seated, and why don't we just turn our palms up. Take a nice deep breath. Grow the tailbone down and lengthen the spine up. And we'll just start by turning inward. Taking some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Turning your attention from the busyness of everyday life to the quiet, reflective time of yoga. And bringing your awareness to the body. So in the past couple of weeks, we've been working with awareness, mindfulness, and acceptance. And once we become mindful and we accept what's happening with the body and the breath, the emotions, the thoughts, then we come to a point of choice. And this week we'll be working with that idea of choice. So I want you to notice what's happening in your body right now. See how it feels sitting on the ground, the legs, tailbone rooting. Notice how the spine feels lengthening. How does the torso feel? And the shoulders, the neck, the back of the head. Just notice how the body feels. And then, as we worked with last week, bring a level of acceptance to that. So if there's pain or stiffness anywhere, just bring a compassionate acceptance to that. So once we have this awareness of what's happening in our body, and we've brought a gentle, loving kindness to it, then we have a choice. We can choose how to be with that. So we can choose to be kind of aggressive and want it to be another way, or we can maybe decide to shift our posture slightly to find more ease. Or we could even choose to lie down if it's really painful for your body to sit up. So you always have choice. And once you've worked with awareness, you brought acceptance, you come to this fork in the road. And so here maybe the fork in the road is whether to continue seated or to lie down for the rest of this guided relaxation. Now I want you to be aware of the breath. So feeling the breath coming in and out of the body. And in the last few weeks, we've started lying down. So notice how different the breath feels when you're seated. When you're laying down, the breath really settles in with gravity. And when you're seated up, there's a totally different feel to the breath. And just notice that. So I notice when I'm seated, I don't get that really deep belly breath that I'll get when I'm lying down. And that really nice deep exhalation and belly settling back like I do when I lie down. So the breath is different when I sit up. And to this I bring a level of acceptance. So I choose how to be with that. And sometimes I choose to focus on the breath rather than striving or grasping for that deep belly breath. Maybe I'll just choose to focus on the breath of the nostrils. So notice what's happening in your body, bringing acceptance to that, and then choosing how to be with it. So settle into how you're feeling today, noticing your emotional state. So maybe you're feeling excited or happy. Right after this video shoot, we're leaving for a yoga retreat, so I feel excited and happy. Or maybe you're feeling anxious or nervous. And sometimes when we're having those more sort of, quote, negative emotions like frustration or fear or anger, it's hard to bring acceptance to them. But let's treat ourselves with loving kindness and bring acceptance to whatever is happening with your emotions right now. So you have a choice of how to be with your emotions. You can beat yourself up for feeling frustrated, or you can bring compassion to it because maybe you have too much on your plate right now. Maybe there's been a lot going on this week. You choose how to be with the emotions that are present. Now let's notice what's happening with our thinking mind. What thoughts are going through your head right now? What is it that you bring from your daily life to your yoga mat today? And just like last week, we'll practice bringing acceptance to that. Because again, you have a choice of how to be with the thoughts. You could beat yourself up for having monkey mind, or you could be kind and compassionate with yourself, knowing that everybody in the entire universe has monkey mind. You could be proud of yourself for sitting down and doing yoga and bringing conscious awareness to settling the mind. So given what you've discovered about your body and your breathing, your emotions, your thoughts, begin to set an intention for your yoga practice today. How could this next hour together best in your life right now? When you're clear on your intention, you can begin to open your eyes. And we're going to start from seated today. So the first part of our class, a lot of times in yoga, there isn't a lot of choice. The teacher really dictates what's going to happen. So we're going to play with giving you choice. But also when I don't give you choice as to what happens, you always have a choice in how to be with it, in how to come into a pose and how to come out of a pose and how long to stay and how to be in a pose. So we're going to start with a side bend. So we're going to come up and over to the side. Okay. breathing into the side of the body. So even right here, you have a choice. If it's really uncomfortable for you to sit cross-legged, you could choose to sit another way. You could sit with your legs wide and do the side bend. You could sit kneeling and do the side bend, or you could even sit in the chair and do a side bend. So lots of choice. You can choose to go deep. You could choose to go gently today. Then we'll inhale, come center. And we'll exhale and we'll come to the other side, side bending. And as you come to the side with your raised arm, let's just gently rotate that shoulder back a little bit so the heart is nice and up at the front. Slowly up. And then let's gently twist here. So lengthening up through the spine, rotating through the spine. You know, one thing I've noticed since the spring and having so much more body work done since the spring is that one of the unexpected benefits of that has been a real deepening of the twist. So I just find that really interesting and fascinating. And then let's come center, and we'll twist to the other side. Okay, so I'm continuing to bring mindfulness to what's happening in my body. So I notice that this side is harder for me than the other side. And so with that awareness, I bring acceptance, and I choose how to be with that difference. So instead of sort of beating myself up for this side being harder, I just, oh, this side's harder. Interesting. The longer I've been studying yoga, the more to me it seems like a journey of self-discovery. Come on back center, and we'll take the hands at the heart here. We'll breathe in. And we'll breathe out round through the back. Tuck the chin, round the spine back. And let's take the hands behind us. We'll interlace the fingers at our back. Let's roll those shoulders back and down, broad across the chest, rooting down through the tailbone so that the low back stays long, and then we'll open the arms. So you get a big chest opener here. And then slowly lower that down. Good, let's maybe, it feels like I would like to roll my shoulders back and down after that. Okay, good. All right, can we add one more to that? Let's add one more to that. I feel like, okay, we did side bending, we did twisting, we did back bending, we did forward bending, but there's that circular movement that feels like it would feel so good right now. So let's circle the spine around in front. So see, we always have choice. This wasn't planned. Doesn't that feel good? This is probably one of my favorite movements. Oh, we could have done it in cat pose next. That's okay. You get a choice to do it twice if you want. And we'll circle the other way. Notice how you're breathing here. Just keep the breath continuous. Nice. I think that covers off all the movements of the spine. Can you think of any other? Side bend, twist, forward, back, rotation. I think that's about it. Any others you can think of? No, I think that's good. If you think of another one, let us know. Okay, let's come into cat pose, and I'm going to give you some choices. And let me show you a few different variations, and then you can choose what you're going to do based on your needs today. So there's that very traditional exhale round and inhale extend. Now we can do rounding and shifting back. You can go to the side. You can go on your forearms. This is a really nice option if you have any wrist issues. You can choose where you put your hands or arms, so you can bring your arms back closer to your knees. You could even choose to cross one arm over. Okay, that's enough choice for now. That's just arm choice. Let's let you work with those for a little bit. So you've been mindful of what's happening in your body. So based on what you've discovered, choose what version's going to be most beneficial for your body, your emotions, your thinking mind. Moving slowly with breath. My yoga teacher this week was talking about the breath enveloping the movement, so that the breath would start slightly before the movement and it would continue slightly past the end of the movement, almost like there is a parenthesis around the movement with the breath, that the breath would cushion the movement. So see if you can work with that. That takes real mindfulness to organize movement and breath. And it's one fabulous way of really becoming mindful of what's happening in the body. So all those choices, and my choice today is to stick with regular cat. Isn't that funny? So feelings, I feel silly. It's so great to feel silly. I give you all those choices and I choose normal. Very good. Nice. Okay, so if there's any extra version of cat you want to try, oh, this is nice too. I choose this one too. Swaying the hips from side to side. Do you do this one with the kids in kids yoga, Mai? Yeah. My daughter has a yoga video, and when they do this one, they bark like a dog. like yappy dogs do. Oh, that feels good today. Okay, so from here, why don't we just do a little child's pose before we go on, just to give the wrists a little break if you were on the hands a lot. And I'm gonna give the girls a nice little extra weight on the backs of their pelvises. Great. From here, we're going to come into down dog. In down dog, about 99% of the population needs to make a choice between, am I going to focus on the pose as a pose to lengthen out the backs of my legs, the muscles in the back of my legs, or am I going to choose to really lengthen my spine in the pose? Now, ironically, for Jill and Mai, they don't have to make that choice. Their bodies can do both at the same time. So that's fairly unusual. So for my body, I need to make a choice. So we're going to use me as the demonstrator for this. So girls, you can come into down dog whenever you're ready. We're going to start on all fours. So if I'm going to choose to focus on really opening up the backs of my legs and stretching out the backs of my legs here, I'm going to start with my hands underneath my shoulders and my knees underneath my hips. And I'm going to tuck the toes under, breathe in and breathe out. I'm going to lengthen the heels towards the ground. So you can see in this version of the pose, my heels are on the ground and I'm getting a really good stretch for me in the backs of my legs. Now, if I change my leg position and the distance between my hands and my feet, I can focus more on lengthening out my spine. So I could take my hands forward a bit, I could bend my knees, and I could lengthen the spine. So you need to decide and choose what your body needs today. So my body feels really nice with a long spine today. And I'm going to leave lengthening the muscles in the backs of my legs for another pose. So if I could get that long spine and heels to the ground, then great. Otherwise, I can choose and lengthening my spine by bending the knees more and lifting the heels. So you can choose. But you can see on Jill here, for example, she can get her heels right to the ground and you still see this fabulous long spine here. So that is ideal. But there, see, we brought the weight back a little bit more to her heels a little bit more, and I don't know if you noticed that at the beginning, but she got more lengthening through the arms even. And then Mai also has one of these really beautifully flexible bodies that allows her to really drop her heels to the ground and lengthen their spine. So for them, the choice is going to be to work both at the same time. But most of us will have to make a choice. Okay. So bending the knees, and we'll come down. And we're going to work with 3 standing postures today. And this is where you might need your blocks. So you can just put them at the front of the mat. We're going to choose to practice the standing postures in 2 different ways today. I'm going to teach them one in the style of Esther Myers here in Toronto, following the lineage of Vonda Scaravalli. And Esther Myers and Vonda Scaravalli chose to teach the standing postures with very short stances. And then the movement in the postures is through the thoracic spine rather than through the hips. So we'll try the Esther Myers stances first, and then from there we're going to try the more sort of traditional Iyengar style stances where you take a big long stance, and the movements in Parsvottanasana, Trikonasana, and Parsvakonasana are more in the hips than in the thoracic spine. So we've got a choice, and ultimately when you come to your standing postures, you could choose, am I wanting to open my hips, or am I wanting to find movement in the thoracic spine? And the thoracic spine is that part of the spine that connects to the rib cage. So that's our choice today, and we're going to work with a little bit of both. So let's start kneeling, and we'll take the left leg in front of the right leg, knees bent. And when we're doing the Esther Myers stance, the heel is really close to the knee. So you're going to want to really back that heel up. And you can use your blocks here too. Good. And what we're going to do is tuck the right toes under at the back. Breathe out. You're going to straighten out the both legs. And the stance is really short. So it's like you were taking a normal step forward. So you can see that would be about a normal step for me. The other thing about the Esther Myers stance is that the legs, the feet are in railroad tracks. So straight ahead. And I love this way of doing them because check out that alignment from the ankle to the knee to the hip. There's absolutely no torquing of the knees at all. It's such a fabulous neutral alignment for the legs. Okay, so this is where the pose really changes from the long stance. From here, you're going to keep the hips level square, and we're going to keep the left hand on the ground, and you're going to rotate through the thoracic spine and bring the right arm up. Okay, that is it. That's it. Fabulous. And you can see here how Maya is doing a really nice job of keeping the pelvis level and finding the movement in the thoracic. It's a whole different pose, and quite frankly, it's a version that's really important. Let's shift forward to the front foot more. Yeah, good. And see how challenging it is for even these very flexible bodies to get into this pose, because the thoracic spine tends to be the very tightest part of the spine. Because the vertebrae are connected to the rib cage is less movable than the lumbar spine, which is free, and the cervical spine, which is free as well. So they're fabulous to practice, and breathe, girls, too. Excellent. Okay, so from here, there's that Trikonasana. We're going to come into Parsvottanasana, and the only thing that changes is that front knee bends. So it's a totally different pose here. Excellent. Okay, let's turn towards that front foot. We'll bend the knees and lower down. Okay, from here, let's do the other side. Same style, short stance. So the right heel is going to come forward, and it's very close to the left knee. And we'll breathe in here. Breathe out, toes turn under at the back. Breathe out and lengthen through both legs. Okay, so we're folding forward over that front leg.
Now keeping that pelvis level, we'll keep the right hand on the ground. Without rotating the pelvis, move through the thoracic spine as though the rib cage is going to float around the spine. And there's Trikonasana in the style of Vonda Scaravelli and Esther Myers. And from here, we'll bend the front right knee. There's Parshvakonasana, side angle pose, in the style of Vonda Scaravelli and Esther Myers. Great. So notice the difference. It's a slight change with the legs, the front knee being bent and the back leg being straight. Notice the difference in the thoracic spine. These are fabulous to free up the breathing. If you have any respiratory issues like asthma or colds, wow, they're so great for that. And especially this time of year, we're recording this video podcast. Let me say this, let me let the girls out and then we'll say this. Come on out, good job, that's hard work. We're recording this video podcast in the fall. And in the fall, it's that time of year as we're moving into winter and there's a lot of wind in the air, and the dominant organ, according to traditional Chinese medicine, are the lungs. And we can start to get a buildup of mucus in the lungs at this time of year. So if we really work on keeping those muscles pliable, it would be really nice in terms of preventing the upper respiratory tract infections throughout the fall and the winter. Okay, shall we do the long stance ones then? I love coming into these stances from kneeling because when you come in from kneeling, this action, love it for the knees. Any kind of tractioning like this through the knees adds synovial fluid in the knees. Just such a great idea. Okay. Long stances, ready? Now, what we're going to do this time, we're going to go back to the left leg to start. Okay. Yeah, good idea, Mai. If you turn this way, everybody can see your beautiful face. So left foot's forward, right knee's back. And notice we've got a big stance between the left heel and the right knee this time. Okay, we're going to inhale here. We'll exhale, straighten out through both legs. Okay. In this version of the pose, the right toes can turn out at the back. And you fold forward over that front leg. Okay, so notice the difference. Notice how this feels. And then you're going to drop the left sit bone, rotate the right hip open, lift the right arm. There's Trikonasana, triangle pose. Great. Good. So I'm going to suggest for mine this pose to take an even longer stance because I think that might help your hips a bit. So let's find the movement here. Yeah. Great. Fabulous. So both legs are straight. Left sit bone is dropping, right hip bone is opening. And you good? I've knocked your balance off a little bit. We want to imagine that the body's between two panes of glass here. Great. The other thing to bring comfort and ease in this pose too, like you'll notice here how Maya's hands forward of the shoulder. So if you actually bring your hand back underneath the shoulder, yeah, look at how much more ease you have in that. That's nice. So don't be afraid to move that hand around a little bit. And you can see already here that Jill has a nice line from here to here. Okay, so that's Trikonasana. And then we're going to bend the front left knee, continuing opening up that right pelvis, and bring the right arm all the way over. Okay, this pose is often modified by coming up onto the knee and reaching the right arm over. So you choose. You have a choice here. You can do it from here. You can do it with the hand on the ground. You choose. Nice. So we're going to bring the arm all the way over here. Yeah. Okay. Now what often happens here is people are very tight in the shoulders, which Jill is not. So, but we'll pretend she is. And what we're going to do is, great, you're going to, I find this works really nicely. If you circle that arm around in front and then bring it over, you see the ease with that and wow, look at that. So beautiful. So nice. Good. Great. And this pose is so totally different from the version of Esther Myers. Such a lovely side bend in this pose. I really like this version of the pose. Okay, and then slowly up. And how about to transition to the other side, what we'll do is turn the toes front. And we'll do a wide-legged standing forward fold here to go to the other side. Okay, so the crown of head dropping towards the ground, lengthening out through the spine. Yeah, if the head reaches the ground, that's great. And really lengthening out through the back of the neck even more. Yeah, nice. So that head can really hang, and then we can use gravity to our advantage here, right? Instead of holding our head up, we can use gravity to lengthen our neck out. This is why yogis have such great spines, because we move them all over the place, for one. And inversions, oh, so fabulous for lengthening out the spine. Okay, we're going to do the other side. So we'll turn the right toes out, left toes will stay turned in. We're going to drop the right sit bone and rotate up on the left side. Trikonasana. Oh, we didn't do Parsvottanasana. How about we finish with it? So notice how it feels different on this side. Yeah, it feels better for you on this side, eh? Yeah. And probably not as good for you, Jill? About the same? Feels different. Trikonasana can be a really challenging pose. I know myself, I practiced it at home for such a long time with my coffee table, with a chair, so that even my hands were up even higher, until my body was able to open into it more. And then let's bend that front right knee, and you can choose to keep your hand on the ground or bend that elbow and reach the left arm over. Nice, so totally different on this side. Okay. Those of you who saw the episode a few weeks ago saw Ninka from Yoga Bliss on the Namaste Yoga here, And she taught me this version a few weeks ago. Let me see. You got to really draw your belly back and support yourself with Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha. And then, oh, you can take both arms off. Whew. Not for too long though. We don't want our abs to be too strong. We want to be able to breathe still, right? That's what I keep telling myself. I want my belly to be soft, like a cat's belly, nice and supple, not too grippy. But you can try that because, you know, having a really strong core is really great for inversions. Okay, and then I said we would go back to Parsvottanasana. So let's turn forward over that front right leg and fold forward. Oh, that actually feels like somewhat of a relief after those other two. Who knew pyramid pose could be a rest pose? Okay, fabulous. And then let's bring both toes facing front again. And we'll do the wide-legged standing forward fold here, letting the back of the neck be really long, lengthening out through the spine. We use this as our inversion today. So the head's below the heart. This is technically an inversion. And you can see how it's pretty much headstand without the legs in the air too. Without the sort of tender part of the head being on the floor even maybe. Very nice. Okay, we're going to make our way to the ground. Coming to lying on our bellies. Okay. So we're going to do bow pose, Urdhva Dhanurasana. And I'm going to give you a choice between doing one leg at a time or both legs at the same time. And I'm going to ask, do you have a preference? One leg or both legs? Both? Okay, today we're going to do one leg at a time, and then both legs, because they both wanted to do both legs. So, but you can choose between doing both legs from the beginning or doing one leg at a time and then both legs. Okay, so here's where I'm giving you some choice. They've demanded choice. Well, actually, they didn't want choice. I'm imposing choice. So, but you have a choice of how to be with having choice imposed on you. I know, mindfulness to the nth degree. Okay, ladies, lie down on your bellies. I'm going to get you to do the demonstrating, and I'm going to really talk through the teaching of this because there's so much to focus on, and I'm going to start with Jill. Okay, so yeah, choose where you want your hands. Above is probably really nice. Okay, let's spend a few breaths just, you can even wiggle the hips from side to side a little bit. What we want to really do here is create some nice space and softness in the low back, okay? So breathing into the low back. And as you breathe out, drawing the navel back towards the spine so there's real stability through the core here too. And then over the next few breaths, really lengthening through the low back by rooting the pubic bone and lengthening the sit bones down behind the knees. I find that I can do this and really find length in my low back without gripping my buttocks. Okay. All right, from here, we're going to bend the right leg in. Okay, and reach around with the right hand and hold on to the right ankle if you can reach, foot if you can't. And you may even need a strap
here too. So if you need a strap, use a strap. Okay, and breathing again, re-rooting through the pubic bone without gripping the buttocks. And also drawing up the navel. Okay? And then from here, we'll breathe in. Breathe out. The action is drawing the heel away from the buttocks and allowing the upper body to come up. Good. Excellent. And then you can, yes, just like Jill did, you can press into the palm to give a little more lift in the upper body too. So Maya, it might be nice for you to bring the front hand forward, and can you do a version with the elbow bent like this in front of you? Yeah, almost like a modified version of Sphinx. That's quite nice too, this version with the arm bent, because it gives a lot of length and opening. And also you can see that Maya's made the choice of taking the leg off the ground too. So that is another choice you have. One thing that I want to really make sure you're mindful of is that this knee is in line. So actually your whole body is going to the side there. Yeah, nice. Okay, so that's really nice because you never want to overstretch the ligaments on the outside of the knee. Okay, good. So let's lower that down. Good, and I'm going to suggest here really nice, slow, mindful movement. So you know, Jill just demonstrated that you always have a choice of how to come in and out of poses, and she just demonstrated a really nice, slow exit from a pose. One thing that I've found over the years practicing yoga is that I'm very mindful coming into poses. Oftentimes I'm not as mindful coming out, and so what I notice is that for myself and for my students, often the times we hurt ourselves coming out of the pose. So just be very mindful of coming out, and that was so nicely demonstrated. Wiggling the hips from side to side to release the low back in case there was any compression through the spine there. We want to be really, really mindful here of keeping this lumbar spine really long so we don't compress the vertebra here. Okay? All right, ready for the next side, ladies? Okay, so let's inhale. Exhale, bend the left leg in, reach around. Oh, that was so nice, Jill. I don't know if you guys noticed that, the way the back stayed so long. Good. We're gonna breathe in here, and we're gonna breathe out and lengthen that left heel away, allowing it to elongate the spine and creating that back bend backwards. So you can use your hand to lift you up a little more, or the forearm. Nice use of choice here too. And Maya doing such a nice job of keeping that knee in too on this side. Is this the side that's easier, like it was easier on the triangle? Mm-hmm. Okay, and see how much you can relax the buttocks. Did you notice how that gave you more softness in the spine? Beautiful. Great. Okay, and then let's slowly lower down. And we'll wiggle those hips from side to side. Good. Okay, the moment that Jill and Mai have been waiting for. Both legs. Okay, let's see what they've been waiting for. So let's breathe in. Breathe out. We'll bend both knees in, staying connected through the front of the pelvis, rooting that pubic bone into the ground, drawing the navel up. Beautiful. Reaching around and holding on to the ankles if you can reach, the feet if you can't. Good. Okay, knees in, nice. That was nice. Mine just did a nice knees in and lengthening through the back again by rooting through that pubic bone. Yeah. One cue that I've been living for lately is sit bones to backs and knees too. Is beautiful. Okay, they're just chomping at the bit here. So inhale. Exhale, heels reach away, torso comes up. Gorgeous. Oh. Okay, so that's gonna reach and lengthen. So So we want to be mindful and make good choices because both Mai and Jill are coming on the retreat. So they're going to be practicing about 10 hours of yoga this weekend. So we want to be mindful that we're going to be practicing for 10 hours this weekend and not to overdo it before we even start. Oh, look at that curve. Beautiful. And see the length here in the low back. Just absolutely stunning. Beautiful curve, beautiful length. Okay. I would tuck your chin a bit. Yeah. Okay, and imagine how the circle could close between the head and the feet. So if you were drawing a line, imagine closing it a little bit more. Okay. So you have a choice when to come out. Up and back into child's pose, please. Lengthening out through the low back. Good. So I read somewhere one time that you should always spend twice as long in a rest pose as you did in the effort pose. So let's take a nice long time to rest in this pose. Oh, I wish you could hear their breathing. They're breathing so nicely. So are you breathing nicely at home too? Or at your offices? I know a lot of you practice Namaste yoga at your office. So child's pose is our counter pose to lengthen out through the low back. Now, I noticed that both Mai and Jill were being so mindful and doing such a fabulous job of creating length in the low back. So I'm not too worried about it. This feels a little tight though. Does it feel to you, Mai? Good. Okay, and then let's come up slowly to seated. Normally we would follow a back bend with a twist to again release the spine, but we're going to finish with a twist today. So it's coming in case you're waiting for it. I want to do a forward fold, and then just the way the sequence works, it would be better to do the twist after. Okay, so I'm going to give you two choices here. One would be to do Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together and heels up towards the groin, allowing the knees to open towards the ground. It can be nice to use blocks here because then the hips can relax and stop gripping. The other choice would be to do tortoise pose. Now in this version of the pose, there's a nice diamond shape. The heels are away from the groin, and you reach the hands underneath and fold forward here. So which are you choosing?
I would choose
Tortoise. You're going to do Baddha Konasana? Do you want to use the blocks? Yeah. Okay. I'll choose tortoise too then. Yeah, and the blocks are so fabulous because does that take all the pressure off and now the hips can just release? Yeah, make sure they're set up so that they can. Okay, so hands are underneath, holding onto the feet, and we'll fold forward here. If your low back's tight, this is such a nice pose.
And then slowly up. You know what? I do want to add one more thing here. This pose can be nice for shoulder stretch. If you just take the feet out a little bit more until it grips the shoulders and draws them. Can you feel that? Yeah, so it's even almost a little bit different pose. If you, doesn't that feel great at the shoulder blades? Yeah, if you pull the feet forward more until it grips the arms and gives you a stretch to the backs of the shoulders. So that's another choice in this pose. Makes it more about the backs of the shoulders than the low back, although your low back's still getting a nice stretch here. Okay, so slowly up, and we're going to do a nice easy recline twist here. So I'm going to get you to lie on your backs, knees to chest, arms to a soft T, and we'll inhale here, exhale, lower the knees to the right, looking over the left shoulder. And then inhale, center. And exhale, lower over to the left side, look over the right shoulder. Oh, recline twist is such a delicious way to end the practice. I often use it at the beginning, but oh, it's nice to finish this way. And then back center. Okay, let's bring the legs back center. Oh, you know, we could try starting and finishing this way sometime. Okay, arms by the side of the body. Oh, so many possibilities. Okay, shavasana. Okay. I'm going to encourage you to rest in shavasana for 5 or 10 minutes. I've been indulgent in my time here, and so I'm going to wrap up here by suggesting you consider the choices that you make in your life this week, and noticing whether your choices serve your intentions. So here's a really quick and easy example. If your intention is to live a peaceful life, but you're always watching violent films at home, then is there a disconnect there? You know, so just looking at the choices that you make sort of throughout your day and whether they really support your intentions in this, in your life. All right, so I am going to get Jill and Mai to come up to seated, bending your knees, rolling to your right side and coming up to seated. We'll bring our hands into Namaste. May you be free from inner and outer harm. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be healthy and strong. And may you look after yourselves joyfully. Namaste. Thank you so much, Jill. Thank you, Mai. Thank you to Terry from Perfect Form Training Studio in Ajax for opening her space up to us each week. Have a great week. Thanks for episode number 5. See you next week.